In fact, we are here on earth for a purpose that is one of service. We are not here to achieve release from earth so much as to be able to perceive and recognize the light that exists within the earth, within the manifested world. I think this is touched upon in the great invocation in the stanza which says, "From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth." That stanza suggests the two-way vision of the third eye. In one sense, the third eye is the lens through which God sees into the world. We could say that the third eye is the means through which the vision of God can be revealed to the spiritual person. The writings of Alice Bailey say that when the third eye, the inner eye, and the monad are brought into direct alignment with the eye of God himself, what the planetary logos, or God, sees can be partially at least revealed to the initiate. So the third eye is the means by which God sees into his manifested realm. But at the same time, the third eye is the means through which the spiritual person recognizes the presence of God in forms. And this leads in time to the perception of the transcendent life of divinity behind all form. The life that is existent within form, yet so often veiled by it, is recognized as the third eye comes into function. It's said that the third eye acts as the eye of the soul. The third eye being the fusion of the head center at the top of the crown and the ajna center in the middle of the forehead. The third eye is the fusion of those two centers, and as they awaken, the soul can then really begin its activity in form. As the soul and mind become a unity, the soul can direct its energy via the third eye. And this is called the eye of Shiva. Those of you who are familiar with Hinduism know that Shiva is the destructive aspect or power of divinity. The soul does not, as we might hope, necessarily bring peace. Rather, it brings a galvanizing, stimulating power. And I think that was expressed by some words of Ken Wilber that I saw a couple of years ago on the window of Watkins' bookshop here. His statement said, "Spirituality does not console the world, it shatters it." And when I saw that, I thought, that's it. Spirituality does not console the world, it shatters it. Whether the shattering is really needed, he might have gone a little bit too far with that. Whether the shattering is needed depends upon the purity of the receiving instrument. And that depends a lot, in large part, on the quality of the emotions and of the thoughts of the receiving individual. The third eye is the agent of the soul in the purification that is needed. One of the aspects of purification is that of the emotions. Not only must we gain emotional control, we must gain emotional purity, and they're not exactly the same. You've probably known very calm, controlled people, calm in the sense of being emotionally unruffled, but not all that pure in the quality of their feeling. You need control and purity on the level of emotion. We also need purity on the level of our thoughts. The basic rule of magic is energy follows thought, because the laws of thought are the laws of creation. We think, and by thinking we build, we create. That's why it's said in the Ageless Wisdom, "See to thy aura, O traveler on the way." See to thy aura. Be aware of what we are thinking. Be aware of what we are feeling. And make every effort to make sure that it is pure in essence. So purification is an essential attribute of the worker in white magic. What are some other attributes? Well, one is persistence. Persistence in spite of failure. I think the dividing line between the true disciple and the aspirant is simply the refusal to give up. Not freedom from making mistakes, not freedom from failing, falling down, but the refusal to give up characterizes the disciple. There is that persistence that will not cease trying to move forward, trying to overcome every mistake and to learn from it. Another aspect of the worker in white magic, detachment, which those of us who are familiar with Buddhism certainly know is a great attribute. Detachment cultivated through developing the view of the onlooker, the observer of life. Another attribute, silence. Too much magical work comes to naught because of the tendency to speak too much about whatever one is trying to create or build. Talk, when it's too early, too premature, can rupture and dissipate the generation of energies that is necessary in the work of white magic. I think people in show business understand this as well as anybody, because I've heard it said that when you're trying out for a part, you never talk about it. You stay silent. You don't disrupt or dissipate the energies by speaking prematurely. The need for detachment, coming back to that for a moment. Alice Bailey said of this supreme requirement, all workers in the field of the world should recognize the need for silent detachment, and the work before every student who reads these instructions, she said, must consist in cultivating a detached attitude. It's a mental detachment that is needed, that enables the thinker to dwell ever in the high place, and from that center of peace to calmly and powerfully carry out the work he's set before himself. She said, such a worker works in the world. He loves and comforts and serves. He pays no attention to his personality likes and dislikes, or to his prejudices or his attachments. He stands as a rock of strength and as a strong hand in the dark to all whom he contacts. And she said the cultivation of a detached attitude personally with an attached attitude spiritually will cut at the very roots of one's life, but it will render back 1,000-fold for all that it cuts away. Another attribute of the worker in white magic, non-criticism. We're told that criticism is the outstanding failure of the mentally developing, integrated personalities, the people who have made quite a lot of progress in coordinating their mind, emotions, and physical being, and who are awakening mentally. They are most prone to criticism. And here we're speaking not only of the spoken words of criticism, but the unspoken thoughts that are critical in nature. Both of them are dangerous because they can swing emotional and mental substance into activity. We hinder each other probably by criticism more than we realize. And we hinder our own ability to carry out the work of white magic, which depends, because it is the energy of the soul, which is one with all, on the establishment of right human relations. And you can't have right human relations where criticism prevails, because criticism sets up a barrier to the flow of energy. It's so obvious, isn't it? But it's such a hurdle for so many of us to overcome. Again, the words, see to thy aura, O traveler on the way. Instead of criticizing, we can serve the people who come into our field of vision by